Radio has made a big deal out of too. You have a lot of supporting cast members in there. Definitely the film goes in a lot of different directions, and I think you'll enjoy it. I get the question, what do I have to do to start my own radio show a lot? And I've had that over the last 13 years. It's something that I wouldn't advise a lot of people to do unless you really know and understand what you're getting yourself into. I've done radio both, independently and syndicated over the last 13 years, and at the end of 13 years, I've had over 800 guests appear on this show. That's one thing you'll notice about Radio Rebel's show and the movie. There are no guests on the radio show for a show that is supposedly so popular. Having no guests seems to be something very hard to comprehend for me and a lot of people, I'm sure, once you see this film. The show is based on conversation between Radio Rebel and a lot of callers who share their opinions on a lot of issues and say things they were afraid to say off radio, which Radio Rebel does. She's afraid to say a lot of things in person. She's a very different person than she is on radio. But when she gets behind the microphone, she definitely says what she's afraid of saying in person after years of covering up her identity. But I think that radio is not something you should get caught up in unless you really know what you're going to do, what the format of your show is going to be, what you're going to present yourself for, and what kind of message you're going to convey. Definitely have a service provider. You can either go free or premium. I recommend sites like blogtalkradio.com that recently just implemented a pay-as-you-go service, which offers you a lot of cool premium features that the free version doesn't. The free version's become very limited. I was one of the first fortunate people to actually experience Blog Talk Radio in the full service before they cut back by offering limited services. And Live 365 asks you for a small fee. But the best way to go, I think, is go premium with a lot of websites because you'll get a lot more features, a lot more lines, a lot more benefits than if you were to go with the free package that a lot of websites offer that is very limited. But I definitely recommend sites like Blog Talk, Live 365, Live Now. Definitely very different. And it's a very different world when you start your own radio show. And the best way of me describing it to you is you shouldn't do it unless you really know what you're getting yourself into. I was very fortunate to work with a lot of people on the radio, have over 800 guests. I used a lot of different services. Definitely I preferred blogtalkradio.com because of the freedom. I was one of the fortunate few to use Blog Talk Radio when they weren't offering a premium service, and you had access to all the features on the website before they cut back. I've been broadcasting ever since, radio was, a minimal thing on the internet. It's not made such a big deal out of when I started, but definitely, I was one of the fortunate few to, start and have access to a lot of different things before they cut back. And I've been broadcasting ever since you had to use Winamp back in the day, and that was a challenge for me, actually mastering Winamp. But, I wouldn't recommend radio to anybody unless you really know what you're getting yourself into. And, honestly, if I had my time back, I probably would have done it all over again. And I would probably do it all over again because I have a better understanding of what internet radio is really all about than I did probably 13 years ago. I started, I had no connections. I didn't know, where to turn when it came to radio. I built a lot of websites and helped out with a lot of websites when it came to radio, like wrestling-radio.com. That's why I could relate to the movie Radio Rebel, because I'm a radio DJ myself who plays music here on this show, who's talked about a lot of different themes. You'll find those themes in the archives of my YouTube channel and on my Twitter page and my Facebook. I've definitely talked about a lot of different things. And I think that if you have a gift of being able to relate to people, definitely radio is the avenue for you to go down. But if you can't relate to people or, go through experiences that people will talk about to you on radio, if you can't handle the opinions of people, handle the criticism of people, like Radio Rebel had a challenge doing first off at the beginning of the film, and definitely that changed. Her inception of that changed from the beginning of the film until the end. If you can't take criticism or understand, the stories and the opinions that people will share with you, I wouldn't advise that you start your own radio show. But if you are able to sit down and listen to the stories of what that people are going to share with you, the opinions they're going to have and express, how they're going to use your radio show as an open forum to talk about a lot of crucial issues. Definitely get into it if you can handle it, but if you can't, radio is something to stay away from altogether. You should definitely try something different on the internet rather than a radio show. You know, I've been very fortunate, over 800 guests, over 1,000 shows. We just celebrated our 1,000th show, and we're still going strong. And as I mentioned, you know, there were times through watching Radio Rebel that I thought that myself and other radio show hosts I've had the privilege of working with, like Matt Alvarez, Wacko Bob, AJ Vito, definitely were the inspiration behind this film. That's what I thought. And I want to send this message out to the producers of the film. If we were in any way affiliated with the inspiration behind the movie, you can definitely contact one of us and let us know. You can contact me at jonathanclarke2005@hotmail.com. That email address one more time, jonathanclarke2005@hotmail.com. You'll find the show on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. A lot of our archives are up there. If we were the inspiration behind any of this, I'm inviting the producers to let us know via email, Twitter, or Facebook, definitely. You know, it's a great movie. It's rated PG. Parental guidance is strongly recommended with this film because of a couple of mature themes thrown in there. It's not all G nowadays for the Disney stars, although they try to maintain their image that was similar on Disney Channel. They kind of try to break away from Disney but maintain their similar images they've always been trying to convey. Some of them are able to do it, some of them aren't. I think that, you know, with a lot of the Disney stars now being back in the tabloids, definitely it gives them a bit of a negative image. Miley Cyrus is one who's been in the tabloids quite often here lately with a lot of things like drug scares and stuff. That's not good for their image. But when you have people like Debbie Ryan and Vanessa Hudgens with films like Journey to The Mysterious Island, the sequel to Journey to the Center of the Earth, which are very successful novels, and you have Debbie Ryan, who was in the successful film Radio Rebel, and Jessie, this show that is really getting off the ground, receiving a lot of publicity. She was involved with Sweet Life on Deck from 2008 to 2011. Definitely you can expect good things to come from these Disney stars, and Radio Rebel is no exception. I do recommend it, especially to other radio show hosts who haven't seen this film. Definitely. It's not produced by Nickelodeon or by Disney. It's an independently shot film is what it looks like, with a little bit of technology incorporated with it. I really think you should really see this film because you're going to find that you relate to this a lot. Theatrical trailers for this film and interviews with Debbie Ryan will drop on our Facebook and Twitter pages over the next couple of days. Check out our RSS news feeds for up-to-the-minute news updates on a lot of crucial things happening. And I do advise that you check this one out. It's definitely awesome. You know, I've seen it a couple of times. It premiered just last weekend, and I didn't get a chance to see the premiere of it, but I saw it there a couple of days ago, one of the repeats of it during the March break specials, and I caught it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And just this morning, I saw a Debbie Ryan interview done by CW where she talked about the status of her career, what position she was currently in with her career, talking about Disney to Radio Rebel to Jessie. She's done a lot, you know, and I saw an interview that YTV had conducted with her, and it was a very influential interview, very insightful when it came to Radio Rebel, a film that I initially had no idea about, but I really enjoyed. Got into it at the top of the second hour, and definitely the prom theme was there, like it was for the Disney movie Prom. It was for Victorious when they had their adaptation of a prom, calling it a prom in season 2. A very, very different film. You know, wasn't expecting Debbie Ryan to be in it, but she had this radio voice that will really catch your attention. The metamorphosis of her character definitely is something that you will notice. Success is not guaranteed for stars when they break away from their original career choice and the companies that made them famous. But some of them get really lucky, and I think Debbie Ryan is one of those fortunate few who had this unbelievable formula and this unbelievable ability to adapt. And that's a key thing, I think. You know, if you have this ability to adapt to changes in your career, I really think that you will have success, and nobody can take that success you've already had and the success that you're going to have away from you. You can find her on Twitter and Facebook. I will follow her on Twitter. I will like her on our Facebook page, and I will give you the link to her official website, probably in the description of the YouTube video archive of Radio Rebel. If you go back in my archives, I mentioned that we were going to talk about Radio Rebel very briefly on a past archive, and I'm finally getting around to doing it because I was waiting to see the film. I had seen a lot of interviews, I had seen a lot of previews and trailers for it. Trailers and interviews can be found on our Twitter and YouTube channel. Definitely let us know what you think of it. because I really want to know what your opinion of this film is, especially fans of Debbie Ryan. Fans of Demi Lovato and Debbie Ryan are never going to go away. So definitely let us know what you think of it. Definitely, send us your opinion along via Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. Really like to know what you think of this, and take advantage of things like our RSS feed for up-to-the-minute news updates. We have a couple of dates to announce for you, everything from the premiere of networks to award shows. I will do that once I come back from playing Simple Plan, one of their latest. It's actually from the Disney Prom soundtrack. It's Can't Keep My Hands Off You. They are accompanied here by a couple of well-known artists for this one. I'll announce the show dates coming up after the musical break. You're listening to HEW Entertainment Variety Radio. You'll be able to find us on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You can hear the show on YouTube and Twitter when it drops in a couple of days. I'm Jonathan Clarke. Like what you hear? Tell us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Sits all alone, collecting dust in the corner. Haven't called any of my friends, I've been MIA since last December. My BlackBerry's filled up with email. My phone calls go straight through to voicemail. 'Cause all